Welcome back to Football Daily. As you can see, we are back in the new studio. Going to be trying to give you as many clips as possible throughout the week and over the weekend going forward. Henry Hill, Zach Jalab join me to discuss some of Liverpool's bigger issues today, because they do have a huge game midweek against Napoli in the Champions League. A very good Napoli at the moment as well. And we have to talk about it. It's all over social media. Klopp's 7th season syndrome. Sacked. Well, didn't technically get sacked, but left Mainz when they got relegated 7th season. Borussia Dortmund, lowly Borussia Dortmund, 7th season at the club, left as well. Are we seeing it now? He's in his 7th season at Liverpool.
I wish every manager could have a 7th season syndrome. Imagine that being a problem.
What a load of nonsense.
Yeah, well done to Klopp. I mean, what longevity. No, I don't think so at all. I just think they've got light bodies in the midfield. I think that's literally the problem. Mane is a big loss. We'll get onto that at the moment. Things that can be corrected. It's so competitive right now in the Premier League, and they're doing okay. They've lost once. What is it so far? 1-2, drawn 3. They're doing. Obviously, it's not ideal, but they've got a lot of young players they're trying to sort of bed into that team. I think Fabio Carvalho's looked brilliant in the minutes he's had so far. There's a lot of optimism to be had there. But yeah, it's not been easy for them, but I'm not sure what they were expecting. I said in Team Talk, and I got a lot of stick for this, I said in Team Talk that I thought Liverpool were going to struggle this year, and I didn't think they were necessarily going to finish second, and I got so much...
Tell them, Hennes.
I can't believe you're saying that. Salah's not going to score. Salah's going to do this, do that. I said that I just... sense this year with the sort of the changing in that forward line that maybe it was going to be a little harder, and it's proven to be. And if you look at Salah, he's taking half the number of shots on target he was having last season. He's dribbling less. He's touching the ball about a fifth less than he was last season. These are all like incremental, but it does add up to he's lost a bit of threat in the forward line, and that's all about getting the ball into him.
Does that not come from the balance of the midfield?
Well, yeah, but I mean that's the thing. They're just losing out in the final third because the midfield, they're struggling to put together a consistent side of players that can fit into that system. As we've seen, James Milner getting a ton of minutes this year. I don't think that was really where he was meant to be at this point in his Liverpool career. I don't think he was meant to be doing this.
That's where the Klopp thing comes in, right?
Of the 7th season syndrome?
It's not. And also,
are you saying
I'm not at all.
Are you saying syndrome?
No, not at all. But what has happened is the players that he had originally, and he's been able to make such a fantastic squad out of, once they're hitting their 7th season with him, that's a long time, and they are getting... No, I'm not, but obviously they are getting on now, and I think you are right. He didn't plan to be using James Milner anywhere near as much. He was hoping that Thiago wasn't going to get injured or so on and so forth. I think Liverpool is just like... It's still very early in the season. Still so early in the season. A month of Premier League football's been happening. We've got another long time before the end of the season, and once the games are coming thick and fast, Liverpool normally manage to find their way out of it. I think back to last season when Liverpool kind of also started a bit slowly, and so did City, and everyone was like, "Oh, what's going to happen here?" And in the end, those two just went flying off. Especially what Liverpool and City are so good at as well is come the turn of the new year, they just go to another level.
Supernova. Yeah.
And that's when they start winning every single game, and it's just so hard to catch up with them, which other clubs I think may struggle with this season.
Can I just say, in regards to his previous 2 jobs, Mainz, he took that team as far as he could go.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I mean, they're doing okay at the moment, but at that point in time, what he did for Mainz was unbelievable. Borussia Dortmund as well. Let's remember, Bayern Munich have now won 10 in a row.
Yeah.
At that point, I think they'd won a Champions League recently. They were a very dominant side, and I think it gets to a point you think, what else can he do with this Dortmund project? And that's why it faded off. Obviously, City have been sort of the big bully recently in English football, but Liverpool have been right there with them. They've produced some of the best title races I've seen in years. I'm not surprised that slightly fatigued them, but I don't think it's a bad thing for them to maybe take a step back. I still think they're going to finish top 4 and then go again.
And taking a step back this season isn't a bad thing if it means in the future, like losing Sadio Mane is tough, man. This is a guy that was so crucial to the way Liverpool attacked and the way Liverpool played, especially under Jurgen Klopp, who'd been doing it. He was actually one of the first signings of that kind of Jurgen Klopp era.
Memory being him
exactly that spurred it on. And so, okay, if you are bringing in Fabio Carvalho, Harvey Elliott, Nunes into the side, like it's going to take time for these guys to understand everything. And even Diogo Jota coming back from injury, like you've got a very different attacking line to what you had, say, 3 years ago when it was Mane, Firmino, Salah. Like Salah really is that last one. I know we've seen Firmino play a little bit, but Nunes was suspended. You'd expect it to be Nunes.
I think though the worry for Liverpool fans is based around the fact that they are aiming to be competing for Premier League titles, and you just cannot afford to let Manchester City get a 10-point lead because they just don't drop points, Manchester City. And although you can caveat, massive injury problems in the midfield, I think there's a real problem with, although Harvey Elliott's a fantastic footballer and I think he's brilliant in that role, he doesn't offer the same defensive solidity that Jordan Henderson does to Trent when he overlaps on that right-hand side, and missing Fabinho can say the same thing. I think there's plenty of problems at Liverpool, but I just don't think they can let it go on for too long because then the title will be gone. Like it's.
But is the title going?
I understand that. For Liverpool fans, that is massive, man. They are there to compete for the Premier League title, not to winning another FA Cup.
What are you suggesting is the answer?
I'm suggesting that the answer was in the summer they should have recruited better in midfield for one. Potentially should have recruited another forward.
And I think Jurgen Klopp though admitted that. I think he did. With a couple of weeks, with really a week left of the window, I think he did kind of admit, I got this wrong. I think he's been a little bit let down, Jurgen Klopp, by the recruitment department. I think that they should, if they were chasing Mane at the start of the summer, which was clearly the case, if they missed out on him, they should have had a backup ready to go. When we go to next summer, I still believe Liverpool are going to need more than one midfielder. Well, they're going to see Milner another year older, Henderson another year older. They already need a midfielder now. Thiago's looking increasingly injury prone. They're not going to need just one midfield next summer. I think they're going to need two. So if that happens, then they should have bought one in this summer alongside the current recruits, because Mane was missed out on, and they just thought, Mane's missed out on, we'll wait another year.
I know you don't like it, but Liverpool actually don't have that mega budget to go and buy X number of players. Most of their big signings, they do it every now and then, and they normally land every single time. It's not their fault that Mane wanted to go to Real Madrid. A lot of players end up to do that. I agree with you, but I think they are putting. I think they're putting they're going for Bellingham next summer. It looks like it's.
I agree they can get Bellingham, but if they get Bellingham, they still need another midfielder. Bellingham is not enough to solve all of Liverpool's midfield issues. He's not just a magic one.
They've got the January window though as well, where they might come and bring in another midfielder. Like they obviously targeted another defensive kind of minded midfielder as well, because they also did go for Dennis Zakaria before, or Zachary I should say, before they went for Arthur and in the end didn't like the pricing fee for it. And who knows, maybe Arthur does turn out to be a player that really does benefit from the Jurgen Klopp system. Henry's not so sure. I think there is time, and maybe this is the drop off from Michael Edwards.
So this is the transition era, you think?
Look, if your transition era is probably going very far in the Champions League, very far in all the domestic cups, and probably going decent, like second place in the Premier League, it's not a bad transition era. But I think this could be it. There's a lot of moving cogs here, and you're right. The injuries that they keep getting as well at the back that we haven't even mentioned, with Konate and Matip being out, and you're seeing obviously Joe Gomez get minutes now, has caused issues too. And I feel like every single game, for some reason, Trent's defensive woes are always brought up as well.
Yeah, and I do go back to the fact with Trent as well. If you had the right midfielder on the right hand side, I love Harvey Elliott, but I don't know whether he plays in the right area.
No, I agree.
Well,
you used to see it.
Get the best out of Trent.
We went to that Jordan Henderson documentary, and he says it in the documentary, one of the things that he was more than willing to do is let Trent go forward, let him do all the attacking phase, and Jordan Henderson be the guy that kind of happy to drop off. Whereas obviously with Harvey Elliott, someone whose best asset is going forward, he's not going to be willing to be falling back into that right back position, is he?
Yeah, I just think they missed the trick with that, with the midfielder issues. I think they need quite a few in there, and I don't know whether one summer is going to be enough to solve it now. Let's get a prediction then, because it is a huge game. It's Napoli. Tomorrow. Napoli have started very well. I mean, Kvaradona. If you don't know who Kvaradona is, get to know, because the guy is an absolute beast. He's got to be one of the most excitable players on the continent to watch right now.
And to hear you say that about a Serie A player as well warms my heart. Yeah, no, he's unbelievable. His efforts. I mean, last weekend, just taking shots from everywhere, hitting the post, getting his goal. He looks hungry. I mean, on EFD we were receiving messages about him saying, you've got to watch out for this guy. He was tearing it up in Russia, went back to Georgia, was tearing it up there again, came over, I think, for 11 million. It's one of the signings of the whole window by any team across Europe. He looks awesome, and they've rebuilt that forward line, got Simeone in from Hellas Verona. He scored something like 16 last season. Raspadori as well from Sassuolo. He's an Italian international. It's having looked quite doom and gloom. That Napoli side suddenly looks very exciting again, that forward line, and I think they've done pretty well to replace Mertens and Insigne. So yeah, they're flying in Serie A at the moment. It's them and Atalanta. Who would have thought those two would be at the top at this point of the season? And I think for them it's a free hit. I think Ajax and Rangers, it's going to be too much for them. Although I do think Rangers at home is going to be a tough proposition. It's a great group. I think for this, Napoli against Liverpool is a free hit. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm still backing Liverpool to get a result over there. I still think it's going to be I could see a 1-1 draw on this one, in all honesty. I know it's a bit boring, but I think...
Is that a good result for Liverpool, a 1-1 draw?
What, away at an informed team in Italy against their main rivals in the group stage? Their main rival in the group stage, theoretically the hardest game, I think that's fine.
Okay, straight pass.
I love a bit of fun. Why not? 2-1 Napoli.
Ooh,
2-1 Napoli.
I also think Napoli might win the game. I think I'm excited to see Victor Osimhen.
Yeah, he's bossing
up
it
against this back line of
a stinker one of the last games.
And I'm really excited to see Trent versus Maradona. I think that is going to be a battle for the ages. But let us know your score predictions for Napoli versus Liverpool in the comments below, and whether or not you actually believe that Jurgen Klopp's 7th season syndrome is real, because none of us do. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.